We're keeping an eye on Hurricane Matthew as it roars up the Florida coast. The latest from the storm front, just ahead on WKYT at noon.
Some volunteers with the Red Cross from here in central Kentucky are headed down south to help those impacted by Hurricane Matthew.
It's a day many people in the Bluegrass are very excited for. Opening day of the fall meet here at Keeneland is officially underway.
This is WKYT News at Noon.
Good afternoon and welcome to WKYT News at Noon. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Barbara Bailey. We may be enjoying wonderful weather here, but we're keeping a close eye on the southeast where Hurricane Matthew is roaring up the Florida coast.
You can see it depicted right here on our First Alert Defender radar network right now. Just looks to be easing north of Daytona Beach. WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is live in our First Alert Weather Center looking at our forecast and updating us on Matthew.
Yeah, and we're looking at Matthew right now, and the good news here is if there's any good news you can take out of this is that the eye wall that you see right through here, that's actually the strongest part of this storm, meaning the fastest winds within this storm, that is still offshore. That's great news. The bad news here is that you're still dealing with 60 to 90 mile per hour winds inland. So, I mean, you're still looking at some damage across 95 corridor through Daytona Beach. Now the center of this circulation is now heading north of Daytona Beach, and we'll see that track northbound. As of right now, I still don't see it making landfall, but nonetheless, I mean, flooding rains. You're looking at some nasty, nasty storm surge out there. And not only that, but those strong winds to go along with it. Roughly 115 miles per hour as we head off into the evening as it gets closer to Jacksonville, and then it should head up the east coast. And once it heads up the east coast, yes, you'll have strong winds with this, don't get me wrong, but you're also going to have flooding rains, and I'm talking 10 to 20 inches of rain. That's why state of emergencies have been declared throughout much of the southeast. Marley Hall is here with the latest.
Hurricane Matthew, with its 120-mile-an-hour winds, is lashing Florida's Atlantic coast. The storm is bringing heavy rain and flooding tides to the northern half of the state.
This is still a really dangerous hurricane, that the potential for storm surge, flooding, loss of life, and severe property damage continues to exist.
More than 500,000 people are without power after wind gusts approached 100 miles an hour overnight.
It's really important that we get power restored as quickly as we can.
Matthew's eye is just offshore and moving parallel to the coast, meaning the powerful winds of the eye wall could impact hundreds of miles of shoreline, while the storm's flooding rains spread well inland.
The weather is just starting to go downhill in northern Florida and on the Georgia coastline.
Matthew is already a killer. In Haiti, hit hard by the storm earlier this week, the death toll is approaching 500. Here in Florida, damage assessments are underway in towns south of the storm, but forecasters say this may not be the last the state will see of Matthew.
It'll transition to a Category 2, we think somewhere around Georgia, maybe transition to a 1 as it pushes through the South Carolina coast, and then it does this big loop pushing back down toward the Bahamas. I mean, is it possible that the same places could get hit twice? It's possible, but it would be a much weaker system.
For now, Florida's governor is warning all residents who have not evacuated to stay inside. Marley Hall, CBS News, Orlando, Florida.
And hurricane warnings have now been extended to Surf City, North Carolina.
And while the storm continues to travel northward, it has left behind a path of devastation in the Caribbean. One of the hardest hit places is Haiti, where at least 280 people have been reported dead. Officials expect that death toll to rise as high water begins to recede. And we just reached out to some Kentuckians vacationing in Florida.
WKYT's Caitlin Sentner has talked with one Lexington family who was rerouted from their original travel plans by the massive storm. The family says Hurricane Matthew kept them up pretty much all night long. Caitlin now continuing our team coverage from our live desk. Caitlin?
Good afternoon, Bill. A Kentucky family is hunkering down right now and braving out Hurricane Matthew. It was a long night, and they don't anticipate getting sleep anytime soon. The Minor family from Lexington was originally supposed to be in Cocoa Beach, but Hurricane Matthew quickly rerouted their plans. There was mandatory evacuation, so now they're in Titusville with family waiting out this storm. They got about 2 hours of sleep before the storm hit. Miner says things started sounding significantly worse around 8 o'clock this morning and says they're right in the thick of it. I was able to talk with the family through FaceTime. Now keep in mind their cell phone signal isn't the greatest right now.
So that's the closet. All that came down. And this is sagging over here. That's going to come down probably momentarily. It's a little stressful. And one of the worst hurricanes, yeah, like you can't hear the wind right now, but it feels like the bedroom wall is going to come tearing off.
Now, Becky Miner says they have food and water, so they're just trying to make the best of this pretty scary situation. At the live desk, Caitlin Setner, WKYT.
Caitlin, thank you very much. The miners say a number of other people also braved the storm in that neighborhood.
Several Kentuckians are headed south to help those impacted by Hurricane Matthew. And 3 Red Cross volunteers from our area are on their way right now. WKYT's Hillary Thornton talked with them this morning before they headed out as part of our top story team coverage.
Those Red Cross volunteers coming here this morning to the Bluegrass chapter office, getting their assignments, then heading off to help those impacted by Hurricane Matthew. One of those volunteers is David Silver, leaving his home of Richmond, Kentucky today, catching a flight headed to Columbia, South Carolina.
You have to help others when they're needed. That's why we're here. And that's what I've been taught from an early age.
Silver expecting to help out in various shelters there. Also deploying today, Kathy Hoff, a longtime volunteer who has responded to many disasters both here in the United States and abroad.
You go down thinking you have all these problems and everything, and you don't really have anything compared to what these people now will be, facing. And so you have to go in with a smile.
Silver and Hoff, just some of the many Kentuckians helping those in need, like these linemen sent by Davis H. Elliott Company to help restore power, who a Florida news station caught up with as they arrived ahead of the storm yesterday. The volunteers here at the Red Cross say they are prepared to be away helping for up to 2 to 3 weeks. In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Hillary, thank you. And 3 members of the Lexington Fire Department are headed to the storm zone as well. They're joining Ohio Task Force 1 and will be in Lakeland, Florida by this evening. For more coverage on Hurricane Matthew, go to WKYT.com. You'll also find updates on the WKYT News app.
In other news at noon, a Laurel County man has been arrested for shooting at law enforcement. It happened about 11:30 last night off Goodland Lane, that's Gooden Lane, in the West Dixie Highway area of North Corbin. Officers say they were in that area looking for a suspect who had fled from the Laurel County deputies when Roy Hibbert came out on his porch and fired at officers. Officers say they suspect Hibbert was high at the time. They've charged him with 4 counts of wanton endangerment.
Next week, the Kentucky Supreme Court will hear a case out of Lexington. Justices have been asked to decide if a Lexington ordinance banning begging and soliciting on public streets is in violation of free speech, and if criminal penalties can be imposed for violating that ordinance. The case began when Dennis Champion was cited in December. That was back in 2014 for holding up a homemade sign asking for money at New Circle and Georgetown. The court is scheduled to hear the case next Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning. And President Obama has commuted the sentence of a Lexington man. According to our news partners at the Herald Leader, Shannon Washington of Lexington is one of 102 inmates whose sentences were commuted. Washington was convicted of possession of cocaine with an intent to distribute and carrying a firearm with ammunition during a drug trafficking crime. He'll be released October 6, 2018, so long as he enrolls in a residential drug treatment program. Now, with all the news about the hurricane, we do have a silver lining for you today. Keeneland's annual fall meet gets underway today. Beautiful day for it.
We could use a little good news, right? It is a big year for Keeneland as well. The track is celebrating 80 years of racing. WKYT's Mike Byer, Lucky Dog, he's out at Keeneland today with a look at today's opening of the meet.
The day many people have had circled on their calendars is finally here. Keeneland's fall meet is officially underway, creating tons of excitement around the track. And this year is a special one as Keeneland is celebrating its 80th anniversary. The festivities started about an hour ago when the gates opened, and when they did, the people came pouring through the turnstiles and still are. Many of them will take in the first race of the day, which is scheduled for 1:05, and it's just the first of many. This weekend, known as Fall Stars Weekend, features 9 graded stakes worth $3.7 million over 3 days. 7 of those stakes are part of the Breeders' Cup Challenge. Many of racing's most celebrated horses will be on hand for the 17-day meet as they make their final starts before next month's Breeders' Cup World Championships at Santa Anita. Now, the fans arrived early and are excited to catch all the racing action.
I'm looking forward to that final race where I'm going to win a bunch of money.
What about you?
I'm looking forward to taking his money when he wins that money.
Now there's much anticipation for that first race of the day, which starts in about an hour. And as each minute passes by, the atmosphere here at the track gets better and better. It should be a very exciting day. At Keeneland, Mike Byer, WKYT.
All right, Mike, thank you. And the UK football Keeneland shuttle is going to be returning on Saturday as well.
Saturday's homecoming. Lextran will offer a shuttle between Commonwealth Stadium and Keeneland for only $1 each way.
Tailgate both places, right?
That's right.
Well, the presidential candidates are now getting ready for their second debate. It's this weekend. We'll bring you the latest from the campaign trail. Coming up on WKYT News at Noon, Kentucky's #1 midday news.
Welcome back. We're glad you're with us. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are continuing to prepare for their second presidential debate.
It's coming up on Sunday. The Republican nominee held an hour-long town hall event in New Hampshire yesterday, but he insists that he was not practicing for that second town hall style debate. That's the big one coming up this weekend. Trump and Clinton are set to tackle the issues again. It'll be Sunday night at 9 in St. Louis. We'll have it live on WKYT.
In local news, we're learning more about a police chase that led to a bad crash in Mercer County. The Mercer County Sheriff's Office says the chase started last night in Harrodsburg and ended with the suspect crashing into a guardrail on US 127 just north of town. At one point, police say the chase reached a speed as high as 120 miles per hour. No officers were injured. Police say the suspect had to be airlifted to the hospital. Now, at this time, police have not said what led to that chase. And Lexington police have released surveillance pictures from 2 robberies they think are connected. The pictures were taken at the Advance America on Southland Drive and GameStop on East Reynolds Road. Police think the same man robbed both businesses at gunpoint. The robberies happened about an hour and a half apart. So far, no arrests have been made.
The University of Kentucky opened up a new business building today. The new Gatton College of Business and Economics facility has been renovated and expanded with high-tech classrooms and a simulated trading floor. We're going to have more on the big grand opening of that building today. A report for you coming up in a few minutes at 12:30. And we're tracking Hurricane Matthew minute by minute as it barrels up the East Coast.
We'll bring you the very latest from Florida when our news hour on WKYT continues.
We do have Matthew down toward Florida, but we also have a big front that's going to be rolling on through this weekend, bringing us a very nice shot at cool air. But does it bring us any rain? I'm going to have that in your forecast coming up next.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
There in the low to mid 70s at this moment. Actually doesn't feel too bad outside, but you got to remember this time of year, actually, what you see there on the screen is actually roughly our high temperature typically this time of year, and we're already at that. We will surpass that as we travel off into the rest of the afternoon. We'll be right around 81 degrees. Same old story, just a different day. 4th consecutive day we've actually hit the 80s. Now let's talk about Matthew, because the rest of the day looks good. Kids coming home from school, if your kids are in school, and also looking over toward the evening hours for Friday night football. If you did not play last night, looks fantastic. There is the loop, and you can really see the eye wall with this system. Daytona Beach right here, the highest recorded gusts right now so far at Daytona Beach Airport. That comes in at 67 miles per hour. This is going to roll northbound. That is the worst part of this storm, all right? Good news here is it looks like it'll stay offshore. That's fantastic news. You don't want 100+ mile per hour winds over people and homes. You want it off into the ocean. Keep it there. And it looks like it'll stay there as we continue to track through the next few days, really. I mean, this is going to be a long track storm. I mean, it really isn't stopping anytime soon. Here's Myrtle Beach. Here's Charleston. You go off towards, say, even portions of North Carolina. The coastline of North Carolina and South Carolina for the weekend is looking anywhere from the low end of 7 inches of rain, the low end, you heard me right, to the high end of 20 inches of rain. That is not good. That's there for the weekend. If you were planning, say your kids are out for fall break next week and you're planning on trying to go there, well, the best time to go, I would say, if you're thinking when is the earliest time I can go, I would say the best time is probably midday there on Sunday, and that'll put you there roughly 9 o'clock. It's about a 9-hour trip, roughly 9 o'clock getting there to Myrtle Beach. Or just wait until Monday morning, because that's probably the best time, because then this will actually head off toward becoming a fish storm and then actually loop around into the Bahamas. It's a wild storm. By the time it loops around, though, you can obviously see the intensity has decreased big time. So that's some good news there. What does it do for us for the weekend, though? Well, it's not really going to affect us all that much. We're all right there for the weekend. Here's the breakdown for it. 81 today, but then that cold front comes through tomorrow into your weekend. You talk about a nice shot at cooler air. There is a chance at some rain, guys, but it's far, far eastern Kentucky. It's over toward Pike County, Floyd County, those areas. Other than that, we're staying dry there on Saturday and Sunday. It's about the temperatures. Very chilly air headed our direction. You'll feel it, guaranteed.
Yes, we will.
A lot to keep track of
right.
today. I like the horse tie.
Yeah, I got my Keeneland horse tie going on if you wonder what the pattern is. There you go.
Looks
perfect
good
for today.
We'll be back in just a moment on WKYT as the noon news hour continues. The fall meet is getting ready to start in just a few minutes at Keeneland.
And can the Cats turn up the heat one more time? Dave Baker has sports next.
As we head to break this afternoon, let's check stocks. The major market indicators are down here at midday.
All right, what a glorious day here at Keeneland for the opening of the 80th anniversary fall meet. I'm telling you, they're going to knock it out of the park. G.D. Euronymous is the Director of Broadcast Services here at Keeneland. He is also the Director of Race Operations for Limestone Stables.
Let's not go Limestone Stable, but yes, broadcasting at Keeneland, correct.
Huge weekend that you've got filled with stakes races, great horses, great cars.
Fall Stars weekend, we've got 8 graded stakes winning. You're in on the Breeders' Cup, 7 graded stakes this weekend. All put together by a fantastic racing department led by Ben Huffman and our new VP of Racing, Bob Elliston. What a fantastic weekend. The weather's just amazing, and we're looking forward to really kicking off the meet right.
People are out of school, and the thing that I hope that we are able to get across to people is you can come and put on the coat and tie and go up to the clubhouse, but there are so many different ways for people of all ages and interest levels to enjoy a day of racing.
Yes, there is. Just get out and enjoy this environment. At the North Terrace, we've got a beer garden up there and plenty of LED TVs and whatnot. At the Hill, we've got another LED out there, and you've got wagering, you've got a merchandising tent, you've got food trucks. So there's so many ways to enjoy a day at the races here through the entire meet. Now, actually on the Hill is only Fridays and Saturdays.
Right.
Get up on the Hill, enjoy a little bit. And we're going to have the football game on up there tomorrow as well.
Absolutely. GD, we appreciate it. Thanks. Here's a big weekend.
Yep. Thanks, Dave. We're glad y'all are here.
All right. Thanks. We appreciate it. All right. Let's talk a little football now. Consistency of effort. It's easy for coaches to preach, almost impossible for players to produce. And that's the scenario as Kentucky gets set to take on Vandy tomorrow at Commonwealth. Last Saturday, Alabama coach Nick Saban said his team's game against Kentucky was one of the more physical they had played all season. But can his Cats repeat that against the Doors?
It adds a lot of motivation, going in there with a chip on our shoulders, and we're going to go in there and compete all 4 quarters, and we're going to get them boys everything we got. It's going to be a war Saturday night, and that's what we're ready to do. We're ready to go to war with these guys and get this W.
That's how we prepare every Saturday, but like I said earlier, it's a must win. So whatever it comes down to, if we fighting, battling, biting in the game, that's what it is. We got to win.
Vandy has won 4 of the last 5 against the Cats. It's a 4 o'clock kickoff tomorrow from Commonwealth on the SEC Network. And former Wildcats soccer All-American Erin Gilliland, now with the Chicago Red Stars of the National Women's Soccer League. She's been added to the U.S. Women's National Team training camp roster, and that gives her a chance to play in the World Cup. The Lexington native will play when the Americans face Switzerland on October 19th and on the 23rd. Those matches will be televised nationally. And finally, tonight on the Big Blue Insider with Dick Gabriel, John Hale of the Courier-Journal with a look at tomorrow's Vandy game, more from the basketball Wildcats, and a preview of this very Keeneland fall meet. That's at 6 on 630 WLAP. In case you missed the announcement this morning as well, Tiger Woods is back. He is committed to play next week at Napa Valley as the PGA kicks off the 17 season, even though it's still 16. Huge day out here at Keeneland. I'm telling you, this place is packed already. We'll have a lot more for you coming up a little bit later, guys. But for now, that's a look at sports on this Friday. Have a great weekend.
All right, great looking shot out there, the background.
Sure is. And there's more to come in our next half hour of WKYT News at noon.
Going to continue to track Hurricane Matthew as it churns up the East Coast. Plus,
a building on UK's campus is celebrating their grand opening after almost a year of renovations. We'll give you a look inside coming up.
Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $41 million, and tomorrow night's Powerball jackpot is $91 million.